Please welcome Vice President of Instructor Experience from Les Mills, Jenn Kuehn. Jenn, thank you so much for coming on to the Fitness Business Podcast today.
Thanks for having me. That sounds so formal, my whole title.
Well, you've earned it.
Yes, I have.
A very prestigious title in the group fitness world. And I've been waiting all day to have you come on and talk group fitness with me because, gotta love me some group fitness.
Group fitness gurus we are.
We are. And I know the FBP family, they're sitting there already saying, and we know, Dory, you are Les Mills instructor. We know. But yes.
Weren't we all at one point in time a Les Mills instructor? Many of us in the fitness industry got our start in Les Mills. Many of us are still here, and many of us are coming into the Les Mills family. So I feel like Les Mills is a big part of the fitness family.
It is a big part of the fitness family. And shout out to Body Step. I mean, where are my steppers? Are any of my steppers out there right now? Because it is a dying art.
No, ironically, it is an up and coming art. I will share two things with you, fit tips. One is if you can do Body Step, you are on the upper echelon of coordination and talent. And if you can do Body Step, you can pretty much do anything. So let's just call that what it is. And our Les Mills Body Step instructors, or any Body Step instructor, you are amazing. Because I took one Body Step class and it was not for me, and I had to gracefully bow out. So let's just give you honor and props because it's not easy.
See, this is what I waited for all day long, so that the Vice President of Instructor Experience from Les Mills would tell me that I'm amazing.
Yeah, you are amazing with an H too. And also on that note, let me just share with that Body Step is a program, like Step is coming back. We see a lot with tone. I mean, there's a lot of changing in our fitness classes and the demographic as fitness has evolved in the past few years.
Listen, it is, I always say stepping is old school. And to the point where when I originally got certified, part of my certification was I had to put a 32 count routine together. And then I had to repeat it in low impact, medium impact, and high impact. So I was forced to learn how to put those step blocks together. Now, mind you, I was never the stepper that had 4 benches out. Did you ever see that?
We see that a lot in different markets, right? So that's a different level of step. I will share that is not how traditional, where we see the step happening right now, and we see that genre going. So that's, but it's good to know that you have that accomplishment.
Wait, I am a one-on-one. I am a one-step, one-person instructor. That's it. But Body Step, the songs in Body Step were just so uplifting and so fun. How could you not like Body Step?
But let's just pause there, because isn't that what group fitness is? It is all about that experience and the music. And so put some good music and you start moving, you get yourself in a group setting, and it's go time, and it's just about that experience. So music is a big piece of it. So yeah.
It is a big piece. And I know I'm talking a little bit of the past, and that is why you are here. You are going to bring us into not only the current status of group fitness, but also the forward thinking of group fitness. So your title today is What is Really Happening with Group Fitness? And I'm going to get started with our first question today, Jenn. So I know that you lead the group, the Rex Round group for group fitness managers. Plus, we have just seen so many changes in the group fitness space pretty much between 2020 and 21. Last year, for many of the clubs, it was a year rebuilding, and others didn't see the growth in group fitness like they were hoping to. What do you feel are the 3 biggest changes that you have seen?
I think that when we look at where we were and where we're coming from, and now where we're headed in the future, a few things. And it's one thing that we really talk about a lot on our Rex Roundtable. So I lead a group of group fitness directors, managers, leaders that oversee group fitness. And really, it's an opportunity for us to collaborate together and share best practices and talk about innovation. And really, innovation is a big piece to what we're seeing in the successful companies and gyms that are out there. The ones that are really successful are the ones that are innovative and the ones that are trying new things and being bold and being brave. And on the Rex Roundtable, we talk a lot about the rifle shot of like, what's one thing that you're going to do that's different and bold and confident? And one of my taglines is be bold, be confident, and be brave. And how are you doing that? Taking that being bold, brave, and confident, and how are you applying that to what you're doing in the group fitness world? One thing that we definitely see is that there is a huge emphasis on digital. And when we looked at it, Mind Body, I don't know if you saw this recent report that the Mind Body came out that 35% of Americans started with a digital class before they went in person. And so we see that stat. We've known that stat during when we had that shutdown. People were all online. Now they transitioned into that. The other thing that we've seen is McKinsey and Company came out with a recent study as well that consumers truly want a blended approach. So there's always going to be that hybrid 60-40 approach of online and in person, but nothing is replacing in person. Nothing is better than that one-to-one connection, as you mentioned, in that step, the music being there. However, there is that need for that omni-channel. So when we look at what we see coming up and really three big pillars, one is that omni-channel is what's your digital offering to complement your in-club experience. And so that's, a really big thing. Another thing that, in the successful clubs that have that omni-channel, those are the ones that are winning. The other piece that we're seeing is VR. Virtual reality is a big piece. And again, that's an investment. So when you look at where you want to go, what's the investment that you're willing to take? And a lot of times, even in our regular everyday life, we continue to do the same thing, same. And we wonder why we're not getting a different result. And there's that old saying, continue to insanity, continue to do what you're doing. Most of us are doing that, and we're not willing to make the investment. And truly, you have to invest in the business that you want to create moving forward. And that comes in omni-channel, that comes in VR, and that also comes in your instructors and your talent. And so the other piece that we're really seeing is the companies that are investing in their instructor development, instructor onboarding, instructor recruiting, and instructors meaning personal trainers and group exercise. That's really where that success sits. And so those are probably three of the big areas that we're seeing. And also, how are you changing your programming to meet the needs of the members and the members that you want to attract? Same isn't going to work today. And that's the first question we ask on our Rex roundtables is what did you do differently this month? And we meet once a month, and it's like, what did you do differently? How have you challenged yourself? And then also, how do we challenge each other?
Well, you being the head of the group fitness, one of the group fitness Rex roundtables is like literally like peanut butter and jelly. Like, what a beautiful match. And I wish I could have been on your roundtable. So anybody out there listening, I'm telling you, the best thing that you can do is sign up for Rex roundtables. It is absolutely amazing organization. So sorry, I just love Rex roundtables. So
and one more thing, I just have to really just call out to the Rex, our team and our group, is that it's collaboration, it's talking, it's a lot of times when I was in the group fitness world as a senior national director overseeing 40 some clubs in 9 states, I didn't have somebody that I could connect with and bounce ideas off and go through almost like a coach. And it goes back to what I shared earlier about development, right? We want to develop our instructors, but also how are you, and if you're listening to this, I challenge you, how are you developing yourself today to be maybe a better leader, a better owner, a better manager, wherever you are, a better person, a better mother, better daughter? Like, how are you developing yourself? And the Rex Roundtable is an opportunity for us to do that on a professional level. And we have a lot of fun.
oh yes,
and you have to have fun. You have to have fun. If you're not having fun in life, you need to pivot. You need to have a conversation, reach out to me. Let's dive into this. You need to have more fun.
I wish when I first started as a group fitness director, I not know what I was doing. No clue.
Yeah.
Handed this, it was a brand new club, privately owned, high-end club. I was basically, they were like, you're going to be the group fitness director. I'm like, oh, okay. And the manager at the time's like, don't worry, I'll help you.
Yeah.
And he literally got fired about a month into it. And I was like, what? And for me, because I wasn't aware of Rex roundtables, for me it was ursa. That's when I learned about ursa, and I started going to the conference, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like amazing, because it was just a plethora of information with all of the sessions. Plus, and when I was in the sessions, a lot of them were workshop style, so I got to actually talk to other group fitness directors that had way more experience than I did. And for me, Ursa was my lifesaver, my life raft, but I wish I would have known about Rex roundtables.
Yeah. And I also encourage individuals to have one misogi. I don't know if you've ever heard of what a misogi is, but it's one big thing that you do for yourself once a year. And so it's something that it is something specifically for you. So for myself, last year, my misogi was I became a meditation instructor. So got my 100-hour certification. So I challenge people of like, what's the big thing that you're going to do for yourself to help develop yourself into becoming the best version of yourself? And to your point, Rex Roundtable is a great opportunity for that. Also here at Les Mills, I mean, we just so much information that we provide our club partners and our instructors. So that's another great piece for us.
All right, Jen. Well, let me get back on the
Yeah.
group fitness train here for a second.
Back on the train.
Whoop, whoop. All right. Here we go. What are some industry benchmarks around group fitness participation that you could share with our FBP family?
I mean, we're seeing participation. And again, we see some clubs that are really, that are crushing it and doing really well. And then we see ones that are continuing to struggle. I will say that Group X utilization is back better than pre-COVID in most of our clubs. And again, you're always going to have different organizations that are doing different things. But again, it goes back into that investment and doing things differently. The ones that have come out and are doing things differently are seeing a more engaged demographic from their members. And then also the ones that are expanding their portfolio with class offerings when they've got a diversified schedule that fits in that mind body, that strength, that cardio, that mobility. Having a schedule with class offerings that's diversified to meet members is really what is important and one of the things that we're seeing. But utilization is back, and if your club is struggling with utilization, I would encourage to take a look at the schedule, take a look at your instructors, and also take a look at the experience, meaning the room that you've created or the room that is there. So, and members, instructors want an experience. And so what we really see is that investment in equipment, whether it be our Les Mills smart tech bars or whatever the equipment is. When was the last time you refreshed it? When was the last time that you invested in a new mic set or the stereo? Or if you're looking at the omni channel, what is that? How do you maximize the space that you're asking or inviting your clients and members into? And that's also where we see virtual as just a big opportunity for clubs that are utilizing the space in downtime from classes. So virtual in our Les Mills virtual platform is where we're seeing a lot of success.
So back in December, we did a whole we did it September, October, November, September, October, November, December. We did a series. It was one episode a month. It was the first episode of the month with Dr. Sarah Marion. And she was amazing. Amazing. I was so obsessed with that series. It was so cool. She broke it down each episode on the generation. And one of the biggest takeaways that I took was that this younger generations, millennials and the Gen Zers are all about the experience. They just want the experience, not only as they are present, but also for Instagram and Snapchat and all that other, all
TikTok.
the other.
Don't forget TikTok.
TikTok, right. They're not
Facebook. Fit Talk.
Right. So, and she just said that was huge retention for those two generations was the experience. They want to have the experience. So it's interesting that you brought that up.
Yeah. And we see a lot of, the clubs and the organizations that are investing in that experience are the ones that are winning. And again, they're playing the long game. They're not playing the short game of, hey, what is this going to cost me this month? They're thinking, hey, listen, this is an investment. It's an investment in my people. It's an investment in my instructor. It's an investment in the big picture. And so there it goes back to challenging yourself of what's the investment that you're making in your business for the long game.
I don't know if you saw this or not, but Jim Worthington's club, the Newtown Athletic Club, did you see their yoga studio?
They are one of the ones that are, one that many of us, admire, look up to. Yes.
I mean, so everybody out there, if you haven't seen the Newtown Athletic Club yoga
Yeah.
studio, it's crazy. It's amazing. It's just
And to
talk
your
about
point, Dory, people want to go there. It's like a really cool, I've seen some really beautiful yoga studios, strength studios. We do this amazing Conquer studio for Les Mills. Again, how do you create that experience that the people want to go? Like, that's where I want to be to work out. People don't want to be in a dingy basement or with equipment that doesn't work or with, on a bicycle that's falling apart, or it's rusty. You have to invest, and that's really truly what that experience is. So if you're challenged with getting people in, those are three areas that I would definitely challenge, encourage you to reflect on and dive into and dig into.
What's your opinion when it comes to small and large group training, like paid classes
Mhm. Yep.
versus group fitness? Do you think clubs distinguish that enough? And then I also want you to answer in a sense of, do you think the eyes of the members understand the difference?
So I think the first part of, is there a distinguish between small group and large group? And I would go back to what I see in a lot of the market and the industry is it a check the box? Are you getting behind it and truly it is a differentiator? Is this experience different, small group, relative to group X or group fitness, the group fitness studio? And the ones that have really differentiated it, then those are the ones that are really, the members know, oh, this happens in here and this happens in there. It goes back to also, if you look at that room and a member was walking by, would they know what it is? And versus would they know what the large group is? And I think a lot of times we see, in the industry, it's a check the box. It's, oh, we have small group training. It's kind of, it's there. And then there's group fitness, which is there as well. But I think that there is a huge opportunity to distinguish, but it goes back into that investment, not only in the facility, the instructors, and then also on the marketing side. So there is a huge opportunity to evaluate that. And if it's not working, then what's the why behind it?
Mhm.
So I think that's a big piece. And then the follow-up you were asking, what was the second part to that is,
Yeah, just the confusion. Do you feel as if members are confused by the two, group fitness and like paid for small group training or large group training that's paid for?
I don't think, in my experience, it's not that they're confused. There's a lack of value in that small group. And so what's the why? Why do I do that versus that? And so I think it goes back to really knowing who you are as a company and what that stands for. So that's SG, that small group. What is it? And what is that mission statement behind it? And how is it different from the large group? And how do you get members into both? And again, excuse me, the ones that are successful have a clear distinction between small group and then large group. So, and a lot of times also the really successful ones have instructors that are teaching in both formats. So you're able to pull members back and forth, but there is a unique experience here in small group that has a higher value, and the member sees that value, and then they have a different value in that group X, or that group fitness rather.
Mhm.
We got to get away from group X. I mean, we need a new name other than group X. So if anybody out there can help us create a new name, let's shift group fitness, group X. So we need a new name over there.
All right. Well, let me know what that new name is.
Yes.
So I
We'll
make sure
keep
that
in
I'm
touch.
I'm part of the solution and not of the
Yeah.
problem.
We're
All right.
solution seekers.
So For the last 2 years, we have done countless episodes on virtual fitness, right?
Yep.
We've done it all, how to set up, make sure you have the right equipment,
Yep.
organizing it, how you get people to log on to your site. So I want to talk about virtual fitness, and do members still want that?
Yes. And I was just texting with a former member of one of my clubs, and I asked him, I used to teach spin classes, and I said, "Are you still taking spin?" And he said, "Not in person, only virtual." And so, and we have at that the Les Mills virtual. So where it goes to this is, if you look at, people love being with an instructor. Nothing motivates them like an instructor, the camaraderie, the group, all of that, whether it be in small group or whether it be in a large group. But our timetables and our life is ever changing. And so we go to convenience now. And from a club perspective, how are you maximizing the real estate? You've got this, let's, for example, say cycling studio. You have two, maybe three, let's say 3 classes a day. How are you leveraging that studio to add more value to your members to get them into the studio? Virtual is the way to go. And if you haven't looked at that, how do you maximize that real, what I call the real estate? How are you maximizing that? And virtual is a beautiful and a brilliant way to do that. So I would challenge anybody to really, that omni channel. It's a hybrid, it's a blended approach. That is really where it's at. And we learned so much from that virtual space, and it's continued still here to stay. So we see it as a great option. And we see some virtual classes that get, we brought on a new partner. They're running virtual, 10, 15 individuals in these classes. So I would not poo-poo it, and I would definitely open yourself up to, what are you doing differently? As I shared before, what's that rifle shot that we talk about in the Rex Roundtable? Like, what are you doing differently to do that? So yeah, it definitely virtual, it's here to stay. And that hybrid is here to stay as well. So adapt and definitely innovate with the industry.
All right, let's talk about instructors, right?
Yes.
We can't really talk about the whole group fitness topic without talking about the instructors. What sort of instructors do members want?
They want somebody that they can relate to, somebody that's aspirational, somebody that's motivational, and they want, somebody that they can connect with. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is how are you developing the clubs that are developing those instructors are really the ones that are leading the way. The instructors are your huge asset and a game changer to bringing in members, and members will go wherever these instructors are. And when they can't go there, they're going to do the virtual as an option. So it's really that connection, aspirational, motivational, somebody that moves really well. And, there's this X factor and this magnetic presence. Some are born with it, and then some can be coached. And that's the most, that's an important call out, is not everybody has the X factor. But how are you developing the X factor in your instructors or in your trainers or in your team or in your front desk staff or whatever, whoever that is? In business, you want that person to have that X factor. And can it be coached? And are you coaching it?
So I'm going to expand on that point that you just said
Yeah.
right there. What are your tips for leading your group fitness team? What tips do you have out there for the group fitness directors that are listening?
You have to have a strategy, have a strategy on, like, how are you going to go about it? So I can give you all the tips in the world, but you really need to have first to have a strategy on what's the areas of opportunity, where your gaps are, and then how are we going to fill in the gaps. And one area that I definitely see is mentorship. So, if an instructor goes through a training, how are you mentoring that instructor to get them certified? How are you mentoring and developing instructors to that next level? And if you're asking an instructor to do it, providing an instructor a runway to be able to develop, that's where success sits. So I would say, number one, create development plans and mentorships for your teams, whether it be trainers, instructors, developing that talent to that next level. Because it's such an investment. We invest so much in our people. It's a people business. You can have the nicest equipment and the nicest audio and the nicest and the best parking spot and the best saunas, but it comes down to people. And so how are you developing your people would be my number one tip for you. And then also evolving. How are you evolving and innovating the programming for your instructors so that they become multidimensional, not just I teach this. How do we get them to teach other things and coach them to that?
I had an instructor. She was phenomenal. She was like a professional ballerina, right?
Yeah.
Looked the part, moved. I mean, just to me, I hired her. I'm like, this girl is going to hit it out of the park. The members are going to love that she's a professional ballerina. Couldn't fill a class. And I kept like, I couldn't figure it out. I'm just like, what is it? I'm like, she's like way more talented than any of us trying to teach a bar class, right? I hired her as a bar instructor. And it was just like the personality. Like she just couldn't, I don't know. She was good at doing it, beautiful at doing it, arm positioning, and she was very good explaining it, but I just go back to there's a personality that has to be there. And as much as I tried to teach her, I just couldn't. She just
well, and there are some people that you can definitely coach and develop that. Sometimes you're born with it, and those that aren't can be coached and developed. But it also goes back to having fun. Your members are coming there, your clients are coming there to have fun. Is the instructor having fun? Are they enjoying what they're doing? I think that's one of the beautiful things about fitness is that we get to inspire others. We get to motivate others. And so asking your instructors, are they having fun? Is that the place that they want to be? Because your energy is contagious. And so that vibe and that energy that you're giving off, what is that to your members? And maybe the ballerina girl didn't have the energy, wasn't able to turn it on or light the fire, or maybe her fire was just maybe it was a solo stove. I don't know, but it was a bit different.
I thought maybe that you always hear these like dark stories of the like behind the scenes of the ballerina world, that
like, Black Swan.
I'm like, I think she was scarred.
Yeah. And I will say about the instructors, it's such a big piece because we know that members come to group classes. They're the ones that come more often. They're the ones that stay the longest, and they're the ones that refer the most people to your club. So how are you investing in that, whether it be through your programming, your Les Mills programming, with your virtual, whether it be with your instructors, the experience? I mean, it is a recipe of success, and you need a little bit of everything. You just can't have one thing. So that would be my other tip, is really looking at what's your holistic approach.
All right, Jen, listen, I just looked at the clock. We blew past, but we are having such a good
so
time.
Much fun.
Yeah. And listen, I have a feeling that all of our FBP family listening today, they're having a good time too, and they're relating and they're laughing and they totally get it. So I just want to get through one more chunk, and I want to talk about schedules, because again, I feel like when you talk about group fitness, there's just certain things you have to talk about. They're the same old pain points that we all have. So many clubs have had obviously changes to their member traffic flow, right, over the last couple of years. Right. How have schedules adjusted or adapted? Just give us a little advice on that.
The ones that have adapted their schedules and they're doing it differently are the ones that are winning. So I will share 4:30 classes are a big thing right now. And looking at, and you would think, wait, 4:30? Because we have this hybrid approach of work now where, I have many clients that literally will schedule a 4:30 meeting in their calendar. Well, 4:30 is actually my body combat class at the club. So just being creative. And then also once you're putting on these classes. And so for my group family out there is, how are you put on a pop-up class? Try out a pop-up class. And a pop-up class is not once a week, just one time. You need to put a pop-up class, put it on for 4 weeks, try a different format, try a different time, and then promote it and market it through your club, through your marketing, Les Mills marketing studio, and through your instructors. So it's one thing to put the class on. It's one thing to put a different class on. It's another thing to market it through through social media, through TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So to answer your question, really look at different times, things that you wouldn't think. Look at the traffic tables coming into the club. So when are people coming in? And then be bold, as I mentioned earlier, be bold and confident. Take that rifle shot and put on a different class. And then DM me and let me know how it goes.
Yeah, and I see where you're coming from, because we tried the two clubs that I both work at, tried those 4:30 classes, and the only group that would come would be the school teachers.
Yeah.
They would come. It was just never a success for us. 5:30, 6:30, bumping. The place was bumping. But you're right. It's funny, because if you go out at night, do you ever notice anymore? Like, I feel like stores have closed earlier. They've all adjusted their closing times, and
Right.
nobody's like even on the road after
Yeah.
like 6:30.
And you see, like, one club might do really well with a 4:30 and the other one might have an 8:30. So it really just depends. That's why I go looking at the traffic pattern of the check-ins of that club and what are the times that they're checking in, and then making those educated decisions. That's the other thing. You really do need to make educated strategic decisions, and not just, if you're throwing things, have a reason behind why you're throwing it. And a lot of times people are throwing things and I'm like, well, why? I don't know. I thought we'd try it. Well, okay, let's just have some, like, a little bit of structure and a little bit of facts behind that, as my father would say. Like, what's the facts behind that?
I think I've thrown a few things as
Yeah, we all do. And how do we do it strategically? That's the next thing, is always think about what's the strategy behind that.
Well, listen, before we wrap up, do you have any
Yeah.
other tips or any other advice that you could share when it comes to just the group fitness schedule? Like maybe what you foresee in the future, or maybe even just currently, what trends are you seeing?
The big, a lot of trends that we are seeing is strength development. If you're looking to get into that Gen Z programming, they want shorter, snackable. And by snackable, I mean shorter classes. Also, strength development is a really big program. So, what type of strength development are you launching? We see a lot with what we call body flow. Pilates is also that mind body piece to it. So you really have to think about how are you going about it differently. And then the last three tips that I'll leave with you is create an experience. So no matter what you're doing, create an experience, develop your talent, and then be bold, be confident, and do it differently. Be innovative and try things differently, and then market to that. Take what you're doing and then spread the word and market it, because it's one thing to do it. It's one thing to create the experience and develop the talent. But if you're not sharing that awesome work that you're doing, nobody's going to know about it.
Jenn, we could sit here all night and talk about group fitness. We could open a bottle of wine, have some cheese. This has been so much fun. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. It has been a good time. We definitely have to do this again and talk all things fitness, inspiration, and body step, and Dan and Rach.
Yeah, we will go to Dan and Rach. If the FBP listeners out there could just hear our probably 20-minute conversation before we even started recording this. But listen, I do want to let our FBP family know that next week I will not be here. You will have Jenn as your host.
Yes.
We have agreed that we're swapping jobs.
Yep.
Jenn, I had to confess to Jenn that she has my dream job. And she said, well, wait a second, you have my dream job. So we've made the exchange that we're going to swap. And then we're going to do like a Insta takeover for the day.
Stay in the life of Jenn as your podcaster and Dory as our vice president of instructor experience at Les Mills. And then we'll we'll job swap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a vice president. I might actually get like a little desk plaque made for the week.
I'll make you one. I'll make you a name tag that you can wear around and says I'm a vice president, so that everybody knows that you're a vice president. And then I'll get one that says a podcaster or podcast leader. And yes.
Yeah, no, it would say the host of the Fitness Business Podcast. That's what it would say. And listen, should I organize Sean Turner to come on and you can interview him? How's that?
I mean, we get the whole crew. Keith, Sean, Clive, Philip. I mean, we could do a whole a Les Mills series. I mean, I'm onto something here, right?
Wait, our series, generational series, was such a hit that I might just brainstorm that.
Listen, it was really, really, if you haven't listened to that series, team, you got to go back and listen to that. I will also share that there might be, we should definitely look into something about that, of like innovative companies in the fitness industry and their history behind that or something.
All right, sold. All right, well, Jenn, thank you so, 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 so much. I love talking group fitness.
So fun.
All right, Jenn, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you.